Kenny Smith, back on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Kenny?
Rich, what's going on, my man?
I am doing great. Thanks for calling in, Kenny. I greatly appreciate it. So many people wondering what to term Dellavedova. What do we call him? Do we call him dirty? Do we call him scrappy? What adjective would you use to describe this guard from Cleveland, Kenny?
He's the East Coast version of Patrick Beverly.
Okay. So you like him?
You know, a guy who, a little bit understands the difference between physicality and maybe getting under your skin. But what comes with that is going to be a lot of retaliation if you continue that throughout your career. So if he's up for that, then, he'll be happy to get it. Because, I think that a lot of times when guys are aware where they are on the basketball court, and I think that most players think he's aware of where he is, that it's happening to. And that's why they get so frustrated. Because, when you're playing in the game, a guy's about to shoot a jump shot, you're aware how far to come close to him or not. And I think most guys do that. So I think everyone's who is getting perturbed with him. They think he's aware of his surroundings more than he's letting on.
So Matthew Dellavedova, in your opinion, is not breaking a rule code, but a player code. Is that what's happening right now?
I would say, yeah. I would say more than anything, he's without question breaking a player code.
So
it's pretty obvious.
Which player code is he breaking?
I'm going to allow you to come down. I'm going to allow you to have your space in plays that really don't affect the outcome of the possession. So
yeah.
I really don't have a chance of getting the ball. The ball is gone. It's not really going to change the outcome of this possession. So I'm going to allow you to have your space. And he's not allowing. It's kind of like let's say if a guy's running down the court and a guy just stops in the middle of the court and tries to take a charge away from the ball. You're like, what are you doing? Like, okay, you could do that, but is that really part of the game? You know what I mean? Like, it's like an unwritten, okay, but what are you doing?
So Kenny, is this the same thing that we saw from Kelly Olynyk with Kevin Love? Is this the same sort of? Okay. What's the difference?
No, it's not the same. Only the difference is there's a common denominator on more than one instance with Dellavedova. Mm-hmm. If it was just that one instance with Kyle Korver, I think no one even paid attention to it. No, I wouldn't even. I honestly, when the Korver thing happened, I didn't really give it a second thought. I just like, okay, it happened. But then when you saw the Horford incident, then you remember. Then it made me remember the Todd Gibson incident. So it's like there's a common denominator in all of these factors. So if there's 3 barroom brawls that happen in the city and you happen to be part of them,
right?
So it's something about you.
Kenny Smith of TNT, also Meet the Smiths, a great reality show featuring Kenny and his lovely, beautiful family, Friday, 9 p.m. on TBS, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So do you believe the NBA looked at the Horford-Dellavedova set-to on Sunday and told the officials prior to last night's game between the Warriors and Rockets, you best make sure excessive means excessive, and that's how Dwight Howard was allowed to stay in the game after hitting Andrew Bogut? Kenny?
I was shocked that he was stayed in the game because I really honestly thought that Horford didn't do nearly as much as what Dwight Howard did because he actually connected in the face. So I was shocked that he didn't get thrown out. But, veteran officials all around. So I was honestly shocked. That to me was more intent and just as malicious as Horford's, without question.
So do you think that would it be appropriate for the NBA to now step in a manner that might prevent Howard from playing Game 5, or you think that was just a blown call by the refs and let's move on? Where do you stand on that, Kenny?
I think that there is a great possibility that he could miss a game. Game 5. I really believe that. I think that when they miss calls like that, they do go back and they say, you know what? That was an ejection, and he's going to miss a game. And then going back to Dellavedova, the one thing that made it more interesting than any part of it is that they gave him a technical.
Yeah.
So when they gave him a technical, there is something about him that the referees have noticed. Otherwise, there's no reason to give him a technical in that instant. So there's something about him that they've noticed. That was the other tail sign to me that there's other games that I'm not privy to and been paying attention to throughout the season that they say, well, let's keep an eye on him, because there's no way he gets a technical if he was just rolling.
Yeah, I heard your very hot debate. It was a great conversation between you, Ernie, Charles, and Shaq at halftime of that game, because and you made that point, and I was sitting there thinking exactly, because I guess they thought it was what Dellavedova was doing was unnecessary, but Horford was excessive. And how I mean, they were both either unnecessary and excessive. I didn't see any difference in my mind. That's what I thought.
Right. But see, his unnecessary and excessive didn't get any call against Taj Gibson. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So now there is a frequency to notice him, obviously by the referees, because that's the only way they give him a technical, that he has been discussed after that. He's been discussed, because it would be like if, you know, the first time that your kid doesn't clean his room, and then there's a little thing, you don't notice it, but a little thing missing or a little thing not put away. But when it's consistently not put away, then you start noticing it. So for him to get a technical, to me, was the biggest thing of the whole incident. Because if you're looking at it from what, you know, my comrades were saying, well, he's hustling and he's diving on the floor and he's just a good hustler, then he wouldn't have got a technical.
Kenny Smith joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Meet the Smiths Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern on TBS. Tonight, Game 4 between the Cavs and the Hawks. So this entire conversation that we've just had gets put in the grinder called Game 4 tonight on TNT. What happens tonight with Dellavedova and the Hawks, and Horford saying that Dellavedova is going to have to learn? What happens when we see this game actually played tonight, Kenny?
No, I just think that people are aware of him, but I think the thing they have to be more aware of is obviously, you know, LeBron James. Where is he on the court? You know, because, you know, that has been my whole thing with LeBron has always been throughout his career is everyone says, well, you could let him have big nights. I don't believe that, because when he has big nights scoring, he always will have good big nights passing. You know what I mean? He never not passes or he never not rebounds. So to me, to allow him to be a scorer just enhances the other two things, because then he becomes a more aggressive passer and a more aggressive rebounder. I feel if he gets 35 points, he's going to get 15 assists, 10 assists with that. That's just who he is. I really believe that you just double him and don't let him get 35 to 40. I think because he's better at passing and rebounding to me than he is scoring.
So if he wins it all this year, Kenny, let's just extrapolate it out. Is this the greatest achievement in a legacy building moment for him to put him up on that Mount Rushmore, Kenny?
Oh, he's Chris Angel. He's Harry Houdini. Like he's the biggest magician we've ever seen, because the two guys that we thought that were going to help him get here easily, you know, he went to Miami and had the big three, and Dwayne Wade and Bosh were pretty much side by side throughout all of it in the playoffs, maybe not in the regular season. But in the playoffs, Love or Kyrie Irving has been just adequate. I mean, Love has been not there, and Kyrie at times has just been adequate. So he hasn't been special because of the injury. So to me, this is Chris Angel, man. He's an illusionist. I don't know how and I said it the other day jokingly. I was like, this guy's taking the New York Knicks to the finals. Like, if you look at the team that the Knicks had, this is it. Like JR and Iman.
Oh, God.
Persione is kind of like Dellavedova. You know, Bargnani is kind of like Moskov. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, gosh.
this is the Knicks. He's taking them to the finals.
I mean, you were talking to Kenny, Staten Island or New Yorker. That hurts. That hurts to the core right there.
I'm a New Yorker. That's what made me
I
think
know.
of it. I'm the only way I think of it. Because I'm like, look at this, man. He's making us forget everything about Amon Shumpert and J.R. Smith in the last year and a half. Everything is forgotten. He's making us forget how Blake Griffin was just dunked on Moskov. Like, that is not even in anyone's conversations anymore.
Kenny,
it's just unbelievable.
Before I let you go, Kenny, when you were here last, you were here in studio, and it was right before the playoffs, and you said the big three for the Clippers, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, that this was essentially their last ride to prove whether the core three works or not. Now that we saw what they did in the playoffs, do you still take that stance when it comes to keeping this three together in Los Angeles?
Oh, absolutely. I still take that stance. I just think that they're great players individually, but they haven't gotten it done collectively. And, I'm not sure if maybe you could say, well, you look at it and go, well, maybe they need a more bigger two guard than Redick, but Redick played well. But or you might say a small forward, maybe take Matt Barnes. If Matt Barnes and Redick come off the bench, then you say, how strong are we really? And what kind of team we really have? Because those guys typically through their career have been on and off, in and out of starting lineups. So that may be the only saving grace. But I don't see why you would believe that they're going to do anything differently next year. Like, what would hold my hat on to say that this group is going to do something different next year? I'm not sure.
Kenny, thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it. I know how busy you are flying all over the place. And I heard on Dan's show that there was a rap party last night for Turner.
Yeah, there was a Turner rap party. There's always a rap party or some type of party going on with Turner. I'll just let you know that.
Did Charles close it out? Was he the closer? Was he the Rivera of this event, Mariano?
Well, you know what? Because we have so many parties. I wasn't at this rap party myself, but I'm pretty sure that Charles closed it out.
Kenny, thanks again, man. I appreciate you calling in. Appreciate it.
No problem.
You bet. That's Kenny Smith at The Jet on TNT on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.